This happened a few weeks ago. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I live in a cramped apartment filled with clutter. I usually spent nights chatting online, pretending to be different people. It felt harmless. At least, that's what I thought. One night, I got a message from a profile that felt eerily familiar. I thought I was just tired. Maybe I was imagining things. The profile had details that sent shivers down my spine. It felt like someone really knew me. I tried to shake it off, but I couldn't. It kept me up at night. Days passed, and my unease grew. My tiny apartment felt smaller and more suffocating. I went through messages as usual, but something strange happened. An anonymous note showed up at my doorstep. It mentioned secrets I had hidden. My heart raced. How did they know? I felt exposed. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Maybe it was just a sick joke. But every time I heard a noise, panic coursed through me. I listened to footsteps in the hallway. Something was off. I even saw shadows out of the corner of my eye. I found myself checking the door every time I heard a creak. Surely nobody was watching me, right? Then it happened again. I got another note on a Thursday. My hands shook as I opened it. It said, "I know what you did." I shivered. Was this someone playing with me? I started thinking about the girls I had catfished. Each chat felt like a game. To me, it was just fun. But now I wondered if my actions had consequences. It was horrifying to think someone was out for me. The next day, I sat down for a video chat. I noticed the flicker of a shadow behind me again. My heart raced. I could almost feel someone watching. I turned quickly, breathless. Nothing was there. I felt a chill spread over me. Was I going crazy? I looked back at my reflection on the screen. I barely recognized myself. I was scared. The notes, the shadows, they were becoming unbearable. This was not just a game anymore. Then came a knock at my door. I froze, hands sweating. I didn't want to answer, but I felt I had no choice. Another knock. The voice from outside said, "Why do you hide?" I felt sick. Just before I could unlock the door, I heard a louder knock. "Let me in." My heart raced. I didn't know what to do. All of my lies flashed in my mind. Panic clawed at me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I couldn't decide whether to run or open the door. The message felt clear. Someone was out there. Someone new. My hands hovered over the doorknob. I took a deep breath, but the heavy silence made it harder. I stood there, paralyzed by my own fear, trapped in a world I created. In that moment, I realized, whatever or whoever was outside, they were here for me. I finally mustered the courage to take a step back from the door. My heart was pounding. I couldn't just open it like that. What if it was someone who wanted to hurt me? Or worse, what if it was one of the girls I had deceived? I backed away, my eyes darting to the window. I could see dim light from the street outside. It felt like the world had the right to keep moving while I was caught in this nightmare. Suddenly, I couldn't ignore the whispers in my mind. Who was out there? I grabbed my phone, considering whether I should call for help, but what could I say? Just as I made my way back to the couch, my phone vibrated on the table. I jumped, thinking it might be a refuge in the storm swirling around me. I snatched it up. The message wasn't from anyone I recognized. My hands trembled as I read, "You can't run from the truth." My throat went dry. I looked around my apartment, feeling like the walls were closing in on me. I felt trapped. Had they gotten to my number too? I held my breath, hoping this was some twisted prank. I typed a quick reply asking who it was, but my fingers hesitated over the screen. Should I engage further? Another knock sounded, and I nearly dropped my phone. This one was more insistent, louder. "I see you," the voice outside said, unnervingly calm. I was frozen, trying to grasp the situation. I grabbed my laptop, moving to the farthest corner of the small room. I thought if I could just be connected to someone, it might help clear the fog of panic. I opened my laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard as I searched for something, anything that would help. I was desperate for answers. As online chat rooms opened up, I felt a sliver of comfort, but the moment was short-lived. A new message popped up. "Stop pretending. You know me." My breath quickened. The voice outside merged with the message, and I felt like I had walked straight into a horror movie with no script. Were they right? Was I truly being followed? I had played with lives, but now I wasn't so sure my own was safe. I thought about the girls I had catfished, but my mind turned back to the notes. There had been mentions of my secrets, but I had long buried those under layers of pretending. Maybe I should have never exposed myself to this kind of risk. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The laptop screen dimmed, and a chill swept through the room. I spun around, searching for where that unwelcome sensation was coming from. The door was still closed, but I didn't feel safe keeping it that way. Just then, the power went out. Everything plunged into darkness. My heartbeat echoed in the silence. That's when I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps inside. My apartment. Someone was in the house. I didn't breathe. The footsteps were slow and methodical, echoing off the walls of my apartment. Every sound felt amplified in the darkness. I clutched my laptop, praying the battery wouldn't die. I pressed the power button, but all I could get was a dim flicker. Panic surged. I had to get out of here. Silence crept in as the footsteps stopped. I strained to hear anything else. Heavy breathing, the scrape of a chair, nothing. It was eerie. I glanced around the room, seeking a way out. The only window was too small for escape, and the door was standing between me and whoever had entered. My gut told me to make a run for it, but where would I go? Then it happened. A creak echoed from the hallway, and I froze. The fear clutched at my throat. Should I call out, demand to know who was there? But that would only invite responses I didn't want to hear. Instead, I decided to stay silent and listen. As I shifted my weight, the floorboards groaned beneath me. I cursed silently, hoping that whatever was lurking hadn't heard. I needed a plan. My phone was still buzzing with unanswered messages, but I couldn't risk it. Just as I turned to survey the corners again, a tap sounded against the wall. It was faint, barely louder than a whisper. I jumped, knowing that there was no way my mind was playing tricks on me now. Someone was following me, watching my every move. Desperate to regain some control, I grabbed my laptop and crept toward the kitchen. The sharp edge of the countertop grounded me. If I could find a knife, maybe I could defend myself. My hands shook as I rummaged through the drawers, my breath coming in short bursts. That's when I heard it again. Footsteps were heading toward me, and they were closer this time. I had no idea how they had entered without me knowing. I was careful to stay quiet, slowly inching back as I reached for a sizable kitchen knife. In the dim light of the dying laptop, shadows shifted near the doorway. I could see the outline of someone. They were tall and had a strange posture. Panic surged within me, but I fought it down. Fear wouldn't save me. I held the knife tight, my grip slick with sweat. "Who are you?" I croaked, hoping my voice didn't betray my terror. Silence answered me, stretching out into the room. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, and in that moment, I realized who it was. My heart dropped. "It's you," I gasped. I knew this person, the one I had hurt, the one I had left behind, filled with the lies I had crafted. And now they were back. But this time, they didn't seem interested in talking. The figure remained still, their face obscured by shadows. My heart raced, caught between fear and confusion. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was rooted to the spot. The knife felt heavy in my hand, a lifeline and a curse all at once. "Why are you here?" I managed, my voice trembling. The silence came back, suffocating. The only sound was the low hum of my laptop. Then they took a step forward, their face now catching the light. It was a face I recognized, but the expression twisted into something dark and unsettling. "You know why," they whispered, their voice chilling. Suddenly, a flicker lit the space. The laptop battery was depleting fast. I glanced down. The screen was dimming, and I had mere seconds before I was plunged into complete darkness. I had to act. "Please," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." My mind raced with memories, my many mistakes, the deception I had woven. With surprising speed, they lunged toward me, but I instinctively swung the knife. The blade caught the dim light, and I yelled for them to stay back. Fear surged through me like electricity. What were they capable of? But they halted just out of reach, breathing heavily. "You think this is about you?" Their eyes glinted with madness, and I felt the weight of my past pressing down harder. "You catfished me. You took everything from me." I wanted to explain, to apologize, but I knew it wouldn't matter. The truth twisted like a knife. I could see the pain in their eyes, mixed with rage. My heart sank, realizing I was facing the consequences of my actions. "Get out of my way!" I shouted, desperate for an escape. They didn't move. Panic bubbled again as I realized I was trapped. But what shocked me was their next move. They reached behind them and pulled out something shiny, another knife, glinting wickedly in the scant light. "Do you understand now?" They stepped closer, knife pointed at me. "I'm here to make you feel what I felt." Everything around me blurred. Adrenaline surged, and I knew I had to fight for my life. My breath came fast, and I lurched sideways, ready to dodge or strike. In an instant, the laptop screen blinked out, plunging the room into darkness. "Stop!" I yelled into the black, feeling the cold grip of fear wrap around me again. A crash rang out as something shattered against the floor. My heart raced, pounding painfully in my chest. That's when I saw it. A flicker of movement in the dark. It wasn't just them. Someone else was here, lurking in the shadows, and my world started to spiral further out of control. "Who's there?" I shouted, terror climbing within me anew. I was no longer just facing one vengeful spirit from my past. Something else had entered the fray, and whatever it was didn't seem friendly. I squinted into the thickness of the dark, my heart thundering. The silence mocked me. Was it just my mind playing tricks? Was there truly someone else hiding, waiting to pounce? I took a step back, my instincts screaming for me to flee, but there was nowhere to go. "Show yourself!" I yelled, desperation creeping into my voice. My grip on the knife tightened, every nerve in my body prepared for an attack. The figure in front of me shifted, and I could see the outline, menacing and still. "Isn't this what you wanted, Talia?" they hissed, the voice now layered with something murky. "To be the center of attention? Look where it's led you." Before I could respond, I heard a low chuckle from somewhere deeper in the shadows. It sent chills through me. "You thought you were safe?" It was a new voice, rough and hauntingly familiar. "You don't even know how deep this rabbit hole goes." I felt a knot of panic tighten in my stomach. "What do you mean?" I managed to choke out, the fear trying to choke my breath. "Those likes you craved, those conversations you faked, they come with strings, Talia. You started a game, and now the players are here to collect." My mind raced. How did they know my name? Who were these people? I was suddenly aware of the dangers I had faced online, the veiled threats, the vague warnings. But this was real. I wasn't just being judged by faceless accounts now. "Stop it!" I screamed, my voice raw with terror. "What do you want from me?" "Want? We already know what you want. This is about what you deserve." With that, the figure stepped fully into the weak light of the moon spilling through the window, and I gasped. It was someone I recognized from a previous life, a girl I'd used for my deceitful persona. Her name escaped me in that moment, but I could see the anger etched into her features. "Rachel," I whispered, confusion mixing with horror. "I didn't mean." "You didn't? Oh, but you did.
You had so much fun pretending to be someone you're not. She brandished her knife as the other figure laughed from the darkness. And now it's time for you to play. The fear transformed into something sharper, a jolt of survival instinct. I couldn't let them get to me. I backed away further, glancing around for an exit. I was cornered, but something told me I had to keep fighting, that my life depended on it. Without thinking, I lunged forward, ready to strike. Just as I did, the lights flickered back on, revealing the carnage of broken glass and chaos. My heart stopped. It wasn't just Rachel. More figures emerged from the shadows, faces twisted with anger and betrayal. I was surrounded. "You can't run from your past," Rachel sneered, her voice dripping with venom. As fear turned into frantic determination, I realized the truth. I could fight. I wouldn't go down without a struggle. But as I prepared to face them, something caught my eye, an unexpected glint on the floor. From
the shards of my broken laptop, a reflection. I froze, caught between fight or flight, caught between my torturers and whatever this new discovery could mean. Then I heard the words, the chilling words that sealed my fate. And now the game begins. I tightened my grip on the knife, my heart racing as I glanced at the reflection. Was it an opportunity or a trap? The glint from the shattered laptop had caught me off guard, but I couldn't afford to hesitate. Rachel's laughter echoed in the room, its malice thickening the air. "You're going to need more than that, Talia. This isn't a silly game you can log out of." The shadows shifted around her, the other figures unsettled, hungry for revenge. I could see some of their faces clearly now, familiar, angry. Girls I had manipulated for my own twisted amusement, turned into pawns in a game I didn't know I had started. "Why are you doing this?" My voice trembled. I was desperate for understanding, for a chance to escape the suffocating rage that surrounded me. "Because you didn't care enough to stop," one girl shouted, stepping closer, her features twisted with resentment. "We've been waiting for you to face the truth, Talia. You took everything from us." Their words hung heavy over me, but something snapped inside. I was done being the prey. "This is all on me? You think I did this alone?" I spat back, feeling a rush of defiance. "You think you're innocent?" The room went strangely quiet. For a moment, the tension thinned as they exchanged glances. I saw uncertainty flicker across Rachel's face before she masked it with scorn. "It doesn't matter. The game must be played to the end." I moved, trying to break their trance. I picked up a shard of glass, sharp and glistening, ready to defend myself. "What are you going to do? Stand around letting your anger consume you?" Rachel hissed, lunging at me. I sidestepped, adrenaline surging through my veins. I managed to throw another shard towards them, watching it sail through the air, shattering a bottle behind them. The sound was deafening. They flinched, taking a moment to regain their composure. "Enough!" Rachel screamed, fury coloring her tone. "You think we're going to let you escape this? You ruined us, and now it's your turn." "I didn't ruin anyone," I yelled back, every nerve taut. "You let me. You could have stopped me." Another figure charged, and I reacted instinctively, parrying with the glass shard. She fell back, screaming, clutching her arm. Guilt washed over me, but I pushed it aside. They had forced my hand. Then a flipper of movement caught my eye. The door, slightly ajar. My escape. But as I darted toward it, Rachel's voice cut through the chaos. "We aren't done yet, Talia. You can't run from this." I hesitated for just a second. My heart urged me to break free, but my gut twisted with dread. I couldn't just leave. Them behind, could I? Before I could decide, Rachel lunged again, knife raised, and everything erupted into chaos.
As I stumbled out of the room, a scream followed me. I didn't look back. I couldn't. My pulse pounded in my ears as I sprinted down the hallway. Then the lights went out again, plunging me into total darkness. I froze, panic swelling in my chest. No, no! And then I felt it, a hand on my shoulder. "Game on," it whispered. I jerked away from the hand, heart pounding. The whisper felt like ice crawling down my spine. I squinted, but the darkness was impenetrable. "Who's there?" I demanded, trying to control the tremor in my voice. "No need to be scared," the voice replied, low and smooth. "I just want to talk." The panic flared again, but I forced myself to breathe. Talking? In this nightmare? I took a step back, searching for an exit. I could hear movement nearby, soft and deliberate. "Get away from me!" I shouted, brandishing the shard of glass like a weapon. "Calm down, Talia. You won't want to hurt the one who knows all your secrets," the voice taunted. My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" I felt a rush of dread as I thought about everything I'd hidden, secrets I thought I'd buried. "You think Rachel and the others are the only ones after you?" The voice laughed, a sound that was both chilling and familiar. "You're not the only one who plays the game." Hesitation gripped me as I tried to process what was happening. "Who are you?" I whispered, my eyes darting around in the vague outlines of the dark. "I'm the one who made you, Talia. I'm the one who watched you twist others into their own destruction. And now," the voice paused, tension palpable. "Now it's your turn." Suddenly, a faint glow emerged, illuminating a figure in front of me. It was hard to see, but the outline looked unnervingly like someone I knew. I took a hesitant step closer, squinting. "Is that you, Sarah?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Hello, Talia. I've been waiting for you." My mind raced, a mix of confusion and anger flooding through. "You were just a girl in the chat rooms. What do you want from me?" "Ah, but that's just it. I want to show you the truth," she said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You always said you wanted to be powerful. Now you can be." Before I could respond, Sarah waved her hand, and the lights flickered back to life. The room was different now. It felt smaller, suffocating. I looked around in shock as more shadows appeared behind Sarah, their faces gaunt and desperate. "Join us, Talia," Sarah urged, stepping closer. "You can help us get back at everyone who wronged us. Together, we can take control." A mix of horror and intrigue gripped me. I could feel their eyes on me, waiting.
I couldn't deny the allure of power, but I also remembered the pain I'd caused. "No," I said firmly, shaking my head. "I'm not like you." But their laughter drowned out my words, filling the room with the weight of their betrayal and desire for revenge. "Oh, Talia," Sarah taunted, her eyes glinting. "You don't have a choice anymore. You've already played the game." My breath quickened as I stumbled back, searching for another way out. But the figures surrounded me, closing in on all sides. They were right. I thought I could escape, but now I was trapped, caught in a web of my own making. And as they closed in, a chilling realization set in. I had unknowingly stepped deeper into a game that promised no winners. The laughter echoed around me, wrapping tight like a noose. I backed up, the shard of glass trembling in my grip. I couldn't show weakness. "Stay away from me," I yelled again, but my voice was weaker this time. Sarah's smile widened. "You think you can escape what you've started?" Her voice dripped with mock sympathy. "You're so much more than a victim, Talia. You're a player." The shadows shifted, their faces now clearer. I recognized them, familiar faces twisted in anger and disappointment. Each one was someone I'd manipulated, someone I'd betrayed. I felt bile rise in my throat.
"I didn't mean to hurt you," I stammered, trying to hold on to my anger, but guilt flooded in instead. "Didn't mean to," a boy from my past sneered. "You played us just as well as we played the game." I glanced at the exit, but it felt miles away. "What do you want?" I inhaled sharply, the air thick with unspoken accusations. "To make you understand," Sarah said, taking another step forward. The others hung back, watching with hungry eyes. "You're just like us. You crave power, control. You enjoyed the chaos." "No," I cried. "I didn't enjoy it. I cut myself off. What did I want? Part of me wanted acceptance, but the other part wanted to be feared, to be above it all." "Wanted what?" Sarah pressed, tilting her head. "To be the puppet master? You already are. Embrace it." A flicker of doubt twisted in my mind, and for a moment I hesitated. But I stopped. I tried to change, I whispered, trying to hold on to the hope that maybe I could still escape. "But the game is addictive, isn't it?" she purred, eyes glinting with a manic light. "You can't walk away from that power once you've tasted it. You're one of us now, whether you like it or not." Then she raised her hand, and I felt a surge of energy. It was oppressive, heavy, and it pressed down on me. Suddenly, all the lights flickered again, this time plunging the room into darkness. My heart raced as the shadows moved closer, their whispers escalating. "You made the choice, Talia."
Sarah's voice came from the darkness, chilling and echoing. "And now we're going to show you what that means." I had to think fast. I rushed to my left, colliding with a body just as the lights snapped back on. I saw Sarah's face, and the faces behind her twisted with desperation. "Let me out!" I shouted, shoving past the person I had bumped into. But they grabbed my arms, pulling me back into the chaos. I writhed, adrenaline powering each movement. And then I caught a glimpse of something shiny on the floor, a glimmer piercing through the shadows. That's when I realized it. A door. It was partially ajar at the far end of the room. I lunged toward it with all my strength, fear coursing through me. If I could just reach that door, I might escape this nightmare. "Don't let her get away!" someone yelled. Their hands pulled at my clothes, but I fought against them, my breath coming in sharp gasps. "Get off!" I yelled as I broke free. I sprinted for the door, desperation fueling my every step. But the shadows surged forward, yelling my name in a chorus of betrayal and rage. I was close, but I could hear them right behind me. I knew they would not let me leave without a fight. And then I felt a sharp tug on my leg. I stumbled. Everything went dark again. I hit the ground hard, my breath knocked from my lungs. The darkness was absolute, swallowing the sounds of my frantic heart and the chaos surrounding me. I blinked, trying to clear my vision, but the darkness felt alive, crawling over me. There was no escape. Panic bubbled inside as I pushed myself back up, my palms meeting the cold, hard floor. I could still hear them whispering. Their voices blended into a haunting symphony of betrayal and resentment. Each name, each accusation rolled over me like a tide. "Talia, you can't run forever!" I scrambled to stand, spinning around in the murky gloom. But there was no one in front of me, just the faintest outline of the door, still ajar. I had to reach it. My body screamed for movement, even while my mind raced with confusion and fear. I made a dash toward the door, my legs shaking as I stumbled forward. But just as I reached the threshold, a force slammed into my back. I was thrown to the ground again, hitting the floor hard. My breath came in ragged gasps, the taste of metal mingling with my desperation. "Stay down,"
A voice, low and mocking. I recognized it. It was Brian, another one of my past victims, lost in this web of deception. I rolled to my side, panic tightening my chest. "Let me go!" I shouted. But his laughter filled the space between us, thick and suffocating. "Why would we let you go? You built your empire on our backs. It's time for payback." I bit back a retort. Could I really justify my actions? I had played them, yes, but I had also been playing a role in my own self-deception. With a surge of determination, I pushed up from the ground, clawing at the air around me. I caught Brian's wrist and twisted, forcing him to lose his grip. I scrambled to my feet, now blinded by despair. Then I spotted it again. The door, my last chance. I lunged, throwing all my weight behind it, desperation lending me extra strength as I burst through. Warm light flooded my vision, almost blinding after the darkness. I stumbled into a corridor lined with shadows, and I could hear hurried footsteps behind me. They were coming. I had to act quickly. I darted down the hall, each step echoing off the walls. Panic threatened to overwhelm me again, but I pushed through. There were more doors on either side. What if they led to escape? Suddenly, I stopped. At the end of the corridor stood a figure, backlit by the flickering lights. I squinted, trying to make them out. A chill settled over me as I realized it was Sarah. "Going somewhere?" she asked, her voice smooth and taunting. "You really thought you could leave?" My heart was racing. "What do you want from me?" I replied, my voice shaking. She stepped forward, the shadows wrapping around her like a cloak. "Revenge, Talia. You forgot how to play the game, but we'll teach you. You can't escape this." The weight of her words pressed down on me. I had to find a way out. I couldn't let them take me back. But as I prepared to bolt in the opposite direction, something in my gut warned me not to turn my back on the darkness. I was trapped in a game I didn't even want to play anymore. The realization struck me cold. Then I heard it, a sound echoing from behind, footsteps rushing toward me. I was no longer alone. "Get away from her!" a voice called. I turned, my heart racing again, unsure whether to hope or despair. It was someone I hadn't expected. A figure emerged from the darkness, stepping into the flickering light of the corridor. My breath caught as I recognized her. Maya, one of the girls I had once manipulated. She looked fierce and determined, her eyes filled with an emotion I couldn't quite place. But her presence ignited something in me, a sliver of hope. "What are you doing here?" I gasped, torn between gratitude and guilt. I had betrayed so many people, yet here one of them stood, willing to risk everything. "I'm not letting them drag you back," she said firmly, her hands clenched into fists. "You can't stand this alone. You shouldn't have to." "Why would you help me?" I whispered, feeling the weight of my past pressing down even harder. I had done nothing to deserve her loyalty, yet here she was. "Because you're not the only one who made mistakes."
We all did, but together we can break free. Her conviction was palpable, and something within me stirred. Before I could reply, Sarah lunged at us, eyes wild with an unnerving intensity. "You think you can get away? You forgot who you're dealing with." She raised her hand, and an energy crackled in the air. "Maya, run!" I screamed, but time felt frozen. The darkness pulled us both close, a wave of dread washing over me as I shared a single look with Maya, a moment of unspoken understanding. Then the air shifted. Maya instinctively stepped forward, putting herself between Sarah and me. "We won't let you keep doing this," she declared, voice trembling but fierce. In that moment, I felt an anchor in our connection. We were both standing against the storm of all our pasts, and for the first time, I wasn't just a puppet. I was human, with a longing for redemption and understanding. "No, you don't get to choose, Maya," Sarah hissed, her voice slicing through the tension. Shadows coiled around her like a reaching hand. Maya's right, I shouted, adrenaline rushing through me. This is our choice. I can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not. With that declaration, I took Maya's hand, and together we stepped toward Sarah. The darkness thickened, but a shift happened. A crack, a break in the facade of despair that had held us for so long. I could see the fear in Sarah's eyes, flickering in the dim light. "What are you doing?" she hissed, her power suddenly seeming fragile in the face of our solidarity. "We're taking back what we lost," Maya said, strength growing in her voice. "We refuse to be pawns in your game any longer." The weight of our collective past rushed back to me. The hurt, the anger, the betrayal. But it felt different now. This was not a game. This was a chance for release, for healing. The darkness quivered as the light began to push through, illuminating the corridor around us. I could still hear whispers of vengeance and resentment, but they were starting to fade, buried beneath our defiance. I took a step forward, pulling Maya along with me. This isn't about us anymore. It's about standing together, facing the truth, no more hiding. As we moved closer to Sarah, she faltered, confusion flashing across her face. "You can't do this!" Panic filled her voice as she felt our united strength pushing against the encroaching shadows. Then, just as the dark reached for us, we burst through the threshold of light. Blinding brightness enveloped us, sifting through the darkness like a cleansing wave. It roared, a deafening sound that drowned out the whispers. In an instant, I felt the shadows dissipate, unraveling the grip they had on my heart. I had faced my past. I had seen the faces of those I hurt and accepted the weight of my actions. Together with Maya, we had made a choice to fight back, to reclaim our narrative. As the light engulfed us, visions of those we'd deceived flickered and faded. I was no longer an enemy to them, but a survivor learning to move forward. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself standing alone in my apartment, the darkness gone, the shadows evaporated into the ether. It felt absurdly quiet, the air lighter. I was alive, yet the questions remained. Had I truly faced my demons? Had I really changed? Outside, life carried on as if none of this had happened, the world humming in a melody I barely recognized. I looked at my phone. It was lit up with dozens of unread messages, but this time they felt different, less imposing. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of uncertainty, yet also a flicker of hope. I had survived, but the game was never truly over. Sometimes I think about what could have happened if I had been too afraid to face the truth. I moved to a different city a few weeks later. Sometimes I wonder if those figures from my past linger in the shadows, waiting. Will I ever fully escape the consequences of my actions? I guess I'll never know.